hear or be participating in this conference because she should, of course, be, or in chambers because, of course, she should be hearing those submissions. So was that confirmed? She's able to hear and, if not see, the submissions?
I understand she's able to hear.
All right. Thank you. So, Ms. Nevins, now it's your turn for submissions.
Good morning. My name is Victoria Nevins. I'm here on behalf of myself and the two other plaintiffs in this matter who are not able to speak for themselves. I've filed this claim seeking relief for indictable crimes that have been experienced by my family and I. I realize that the information is very difficult to read. It's been very difficult for my family and I to experience the things that I wrote down. Because I haven't been represented, as I've had unfortunate experiences in the past with legal representation, I did a lot of studying and research before I wrote my claim. I studied personal injury claims filed with the BC Supreme Court before I wrote my claim because I do very much want to and need to be taken seriously. I've been asked, or basically I guess counseled many times by the BC Attorney General and the court to obtain legal counsel. Since January the 21st, I have sought exactly that from a number of different firms or private individuals. I do have them listed here. Either there's no return phone call, or these individuals are busy or semi-retired. I'm seeking relief for torts involving cruel and unusual treatment of my family and I. I realize that my native language is more than likely offensive to most. I don't mean to be offensive. I'm just looking for justice for my family and I. I have not made any false claims. Because the claim was filed over a year ago, it was filed at the beginning of January 2020, and there have been a number of actions brought against me, which is why I was seeking to amend the claim, because I have to add and then I have to subtract as well because changes have occurred. One of the changes that have occurred is me being forced into homelessness after a forced eviction and being left with no financial resources to stay alive. I did fight very hard to stay in my home. And that's part of the issue with why I need to amend the claim. If it kind of seems like the court's going to have to give some direction to maybe some companies in the community to have a discussion with me and maybe take a look at the evidence, I realize it's going to be very difficult for the court to make a decision if the affidavits and the exhibits have not been looked at length that go along with the claim of action. Because it's a lot of information. A lot of it's very difficult to read. It was very difficult for me to write it down. I feel that what's going on here outrages the standards of decency. The fact that the Attorney General is seeking a strike to issues that are definitely need to be taken a look at by a legal firm, a legal company that can take a look at all the evidence. I don't like conflict. I don't like fighting. Believe me, there is a serious issue if I'm saying something, and I'm just seeking some relief for my family and I. What's happening to me now because of homelessness and having basically no money to live, that the pressure and the trauma I'm enduring as a result of the actions leaving me in the state I'm in now is serious enough that it must be recognized. It's having a profound effect on my psychological integrity. So on tab 2, Exhibit D, which is the last exhibit in the information record that I supplied to the court, the companies that I've listed are companies that are experts in personal injury claims. And I believe that because I've been instructed by the court and by the Attorney General to have this type of advice, to have this type of help, that if I could get an interview with all three of them to see who I'm comfortable with so they can take a look at the information and the evidence that I have so I can move this forward, because any delay in me being allowed to move this claim forward, it is life-threatening. It is cruel and unusual. It's unfortunately I was unable to serve the Attorney General with the package of information because I have been ordered to only communicate with them via mail. I don't have any money to send registered mail. It was very difficult for me to even get the package together. I did put together ink cartridges cost money, paper costs money. It's I'm concerned that the Attorney General, after receiving the information, actually hasn't contacted me and asked me for an interview to ask me what's going on. Because there is things going on here that are absolutely unlawful. And it is my understanding that Canada is founded on the principles that recognize the rule of law and the supremacy of God. If the rule of law says that I must proceed without a lawyer today or any other day, or without the help of the court appointing a law firm that I'm comfortable working with, then I can only rely on God at this point. Just give me 1 second, please. I just need a second to formulate my thoughts. I am deeply hurt today that I'm being seen as somebody who isn't right in my mind. I am right in my mind. I do understand. And I've had to research my rights because I keep having my rights violated, and so do my family. And so I'd like the opportunity. I'm begging, I'm pleading for the opportunity to have legal counsel take a look at not only the claim of action, but all the affidavits and all the exhibits, including information that's happened in the last year, to see if this can be either reformulated or there can be some type of understanding between myself and the individuals that are named in the claim. I don't know what else to do at this point. I'm literally begging for my life. And I think it would outrage the standards of decency for the directions at the bottom of Exhibit D to not at least be considered by CIBC, because there is a very serious problem between myself and that institution, considering what's taken place last year. I'm concerned for the BC Attorney General that the fact that they're seeking a strike actually brings dishonor to the legal profession and to all lawyers in British Columbia. I don't bring false information forward. There would be no reason for me to do that. This is a court of truth, is my understanding, and we're here to talk about the truth and make sure that anybody who's been harmed by torts can have relief granted to them. Just give me 1 second, please. I just need to formulate my thoughts. What else do I need to say?
Do you want to mention the house being stolen and them keeping all the money?
Right. So when the house was foreclosed upon, the lawyers for the bank, they paid all the money into the court and didn't leave me any money to live, which is why this is basically a situation that's threatening my life and causing severe psychological harm. I'm not used to being in a position like this, as I lived in my home for 17 years. And I had that protection, and now without that protection, and in the situation that we all find ourselves in with the pandemic, it just seems like
No shelters.
violence against a woman, violent acts against a woman, and I don't believe that Canada sees that as something that should happen to women. I'm a woman needed protection, quite obviously, after all that's gone on. I don't mean to be offensive when I use scripture. It's not my intent at all. It's just the only way I can explain what's happening to me, and it's also the only way I can explain that I belong to an identifiable group. And yes, at times I'm extremely angry because I've been harmed to the point of basically not being able to enjoy my life at all anymore because of all the things that keep happening to me, and there doesn't seem to be anybody who wants to step in and help me. And I've gone everywhere. I've knocked on every door looking for help, and so it just seems to me like I'm at the point where now I'm going to have to beg the court for some stepping in and giving direction to the law firms that I've researched that I believe that would be able to help me to reformulate this, and for the bank to at least offer me some type of goodwill considering what's gone on. And I can definitely prove everything that I've said. I'm not looking to waste the court's time. I'm not looking to waste the BC General Attorney's time. I'm not looking to waste anybody's time, including my own time, because as this is all going on, I'm in a life-threatening situation here. I'm begging for mercy today. I'm going to ask that the BC Attorney General actually become an intervener for myself and my family and not an attacker. I believe that interveners should be the BC Civil Liberties Association. The Canadian Civil Liberties and the Pivot Legal Society should also be interveners in this matter because of what's gone on here. I need interveners. I need some advocacy because I'm not I'm not wrong in what's happened here, and I've brought this claim under 3 different acts because it proves a pattern of behavior here. So we're bringing it under the Crimes Against Humanity and War Crimes Act because of what happened with my son, the Canadian Multiculturalism Act because of my very rare identity, and the Canadian Human Rights Act because cruel and unusual treatment of myself and my family would be a tort. I've come into every level of court. I've been in every level of court in British Columbia. And I always have a hard time coming in here, trying to get understood, trying to get heard. I think it would do the community a disservice if we strike this. I think everybody's going to be harmed by us striking this because injustice against one of us is injustice against all of us. And as a woman, I have an obligation and a duty to not only fight for my family, but to fight for other individuals who are being harmed by injustice. No, I'm not a lawyer. No, I don't speak legalese. But I do have a pretty good understanding of what's happened to myself and my family, and I know that it's wrong. So if I could get some people to listen to me, please, to show some mercy, and to intervene on me and my family's behalf, it would do us all good. Because we need to be kind to each other right now. Access to services is basically stopped since last March. I can't go into the Justice Access Center. They're shut down. I can't get into the law library upstairs at Burdett Avenue. I need some assistance here for myself and my family. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Ms. Stevens. I don't need to hear from you, Ms. Watwell. Ms. Stevens, I am not in a position to say that you have no claim known to law or that you have no remedy known to law. My role here today is to determine whether your pleadings disclose any claim or remedy known to law. I am persuaded on the submissions of the Crown that the pleadings must be struck in their entirety pursuant to Rule 9-5, Sub 1A, B, and C. I am not inclined to make a finding that the pleadings represent an abusive process, but I don't need to go to that extent to have the pleadings struck. I see no avenue for amendments to the pleadings to remedy what all of the various defects I have no power to compel a lawyer to act on your behalf or even to interview you, nor do I have any power to compel any entity or individual to be an intervener in a lawsuit. The rules are clear about what needs to be in a pleading. I, as I say, am persuaded that all of the omissions and challenges identified in the application, in the notice of application, are valid. So there's really nothing more I can expand upon. The order that's being sought under Part 1 is granted, and the costs have already been identified as $500 for the cost of the application. That's what Stevens has been given notice of, so I don't need to hear any further submissions on that point. That will conclude this application. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Can you please amend and endorse the draft order?
Well, what do you think?